Welcome back, MTG Joe here, and we got a fun one today. This is a deck that's kind of been making its rounds around the ladder and just on Arena. It is a Boros Cycling deck. There's some Jeskai variants as well of the deck. This particular main board I got off MTG Melee from the Hooglandia tournament from yesterday. The main board's actually very cheap. It's only 5 rares if you include Lurrus. But basically, what we're trying to do is cycle. Just a bunch of cycling cards, very cheap cards. A lot of the cards you're not playing for any reason other than the fact they have cycling. And then what you're going to try to do is just burn your opponent out with a giant Zenith Flare. Zenith Flare looks at the number of cards in your graveyard with cycling, deals X damage to any target, and you gain X life. So it's like a giant Banefire. I've 25'd someone against one matchup, so you can kind of just take your opponent out. So there's a couple cards that matter in the deck, and then pretty much everything else is just for cycling. We are a Boros colors, red and white, but you'll see blue and black cards. It's really just because their cycling cost is 1. So Flourishing Fox is a good play on 1. It gets 1/1 counter on it for each time you cycle, so it's a very easy way to make a very large creature. Drannith Healer gains you a life if you cycle. Drannith Stinger deals a damage to each opponent. So sometimes you'll play these out depending if you need to be aggressor or kind of insulate your life total. But pretty much the only creatures I normally will play out is the Flourishing Fox and the Valiant Rescuer. You get a 1/1 token for the first time each turn that you cycle, and then it's a 3/1 body. The other cards, a Footfall Crater, you can sometimes cast it. The fact it gives trample is very good with the Fox when you're dealing with like Cat Oven. But otherwise, it's just another way to cycle. This just gets cycled. This could be used as a fight if you really need to, but chances are it's cycle. And then you're playing 16 lands. You really only need 1 or 2 lands, and you pretty much just go through your entire deck. And then you have Lurrus that can get back any of these creatures if need be. I can also just kind of recast this Footfall Crater if needed. Sideboard wise, I tweaked the sideboard from the one that was provided on the MTG Melee. Put some cages in there. You have Fries for Narset, so you really don't want to see Narset, and naturally the first game we play is going to be against a Narset deck most likely. But you have Cage Clarion versus the Cat Oven decks. You have Fry, Scorching Dragonfire to deal with Narset. Reptilian Reflection is another way to get around either board wipe decks or decks with like Cat Oven, because this has trample. So it's another way to kind of play around that. So the sideboard, you have a couple more rares, but you can play like budgety. For the most part, you really just need Lurrus. Everything else is uncommon. Sacred Foundry's help for mana fixing, but you could just play more basics. Or even like a temple. So let's give it a shot, play some games. Kind of comical when it goes off. So there's a Jeskai version as well. Depending on how long the games go, I can play both out. If not, let me know if you want to see a separate video with the Jeskai version. Basically with Jeskai, you play Improbable Alliance. The blue-red, whenever you draw a second card a turn, you get a 1/1 fairy. And then you can also play Ominous Seas to get 8/8 Krakens. Pretty much the only... you could play Mystical Dispute, but it's kind of weak. You want to be more proactive with your mana. So we'll test it out. There's a couple days left in the ladder. So this hand is a keep. Basically 1 to 2 lands, a play, and then these are all cycles, so that's great. So opponent is most likely on the Gruel Kahira deck that's been going around. So we're going to get turn 2 Bone Crushered most likely. Or, what's its name? Gruel Spellbreakered. These decks are much better when they have an accelerant on 1. Nope, they just go Kahira. No blocks here. Alright, well... now we just wait. Okay, so it's the Fires version. Alright, so no play there is good. Let's cycle here. Sweet. So we got Zenith Flare. I do think we're just going to get this going for the tokens. I think going wide in this matchup is a good way to push through some damage. So we might have to Zenith Flare this Cavalier. In part because it lets him draw off Bonder's Enclave. They have Ceratops as well. So it's probably a tough matchup when they do have fires. So I think here what we do, we'll cycle here, make a 1/1. Okay, so we have the Zenith Flare, but we only have 3 cards with cycling in the graveyard. So I can double block on this. Can do this, they get trample. And then I can take them off Kahira. This also makes Grazer a lot worse, and then I can hopefully get enough to Zenith Flare. This puts 2 more in, so that'll allow us to Zenith Flare at least. Yeah, because then I can follow it up with Lurrus, cast my 1/1, and then go from there. So I'm going to kill this now, in part because I don't want them to be able to draw a card. They hit another Cavalier. Yeah, they hit another Cavalier. So in this matchup, probably just the Dragonfires. So Dragonfire can hit Kahira. Actually, I don't even know if we really want Dragonfire. I think we just run it back. Like against Kahira, it's fine. Against an early drop, I think we just run the same plan. If you can deal with like one threaded turn, but them going a little bit larger is going to be a bit of an issue. And we kind of play to our outs there. I kind of like the Jeskai version better because you're able to better make tokens with the enchantments. It's a little bit harder for your opponent to interact. Seen a bit more of this Gruel Fires list going around. With most of the Gruel decks, when it does its thing, it looks really good, but sometimes you just either lose to mana or just like a weird kind of clunky. They're also really weak to counterspell decks. Okay, keep this. So I think I'm going to go Healer on 2 just to insulate our life total. No turn 1 accelerant's good there. Just play this out. Because this is a more aggressive deck, I'm fine to gain some life out of this. So I'm going to see if I can hit an untapped land first before shocking in. Nope. So we have 2 Zenith Flares, so we might be able to just kind of jank them out this game. Okay, so they have Brontodon. Not too concerned about that. That's actually pretty solid. This lets us make a token. Gonna keep the fight one just in case it's relevant. Trying to hit a land here. Even if they fires this turn, their best 4-drop is Questing Beast. Ceratops can't get haste. Okay, well they had the Flame Sweep. So based on the configuration of our hand, we have 14 damage. I think we just need to stay alive longer. So let's play this out, and then I can start Zenith Flaring them. Put 2 more in. Next turn I gain 9 life. They also missed a land drop, which is pretty good for us. This might just be Kahira. So pretty much fogs most of the attack. Would like another cycling card. It would allow us to Zenith Flare. Okay, well, they're dead in 2 turns. So unless they can kind of super combo us. Okay, they have the fires. And Questerson. I'm going to hold back the blocks this turn, because if they have Cavalier next turn, it'll push through some more damage. So we're not completely out of the woods yet. Drew a few more lands than we'd want to. Well, they're dead. So that's the good of the deck. We saw the bad game 1. Our removal doesn't really line up well. Let's run it back. I think prioritizing getting the life gain early is relevant. Since they brought in Flame Sweep, I'm less likely to commit more creatures to the board. This hand's fine. We have the Fox on 1. We have a draw step plus a cycle to try to find another land. Perfect. I'm not going to commit the second creature yet until I can get this out of Flame Sweep zone. If we commit the creature, we can't cycle. So I want to be left with a threat. Yeah. Took him down. And then from there, we basically just make a giant creature. Gruel's going to have a hard time dealing with 1 immediate threat. Sweet. Let's fire up another one. These games go by quick, too. So probably play a 1 to 2 more of this one, and then we'll fire up the Jeskai one. Show the difference between those. This deck's very easy to snap keep. Do you have at least a land? Lurrus mainboard also could kind of trick your opponent. So if this is a matchup where, and we'll see what they fetch here. So it's not likely a cycling deck. They're not playing Fabled Passages. So in this matchup, I'm going to keep the Footfall Crater. It's going to be relevant if they have a cat to be able to push through damage. We do need to be mindful of Claim of the Firstborn here. Okay, they have Serrated Scorpion. So I can fight here, but not the best use of resources. I actually don't mind this Stinger here. Can let us get some more chip damage in. block and sack is my guess. So next turn, I'm gonna get Footfall Crater going. Put it on one of our lands. Okay. Feels kind of weak still. So here we're going to enchant the land. We'll enchant this land here. And then we'll attack with both. They likely block a Flourishing Fox. And then we'll trample through here. Let's make it bigger. And at this point, we're just digging for a Zenith Flare. Let's give this trample. So the Death Touch will kill it here, but we get to get 3 points damage over. So we want to try to avoid the claim. Oh, same plan as last time. Which I don't think will be enough for them. So we play this out. The cycling does 2 damage. And then we can kind of just poke through from there. And then we just give this trample. And that's how you kind of get around the cat oven element of the deck. So this matchup we do have sideboard options for. You bring in the cage, you can bring in pretty much all this comes in. The fox is a bit of a liability. Like, it worked out well that game, but them stealing it is a bit of a concern. It also makes their claims worse. So 5 cards to cut. I like the life gain one probably in this matchup. Probably just keep the creatures, just cut some of the miscellaneous ones. Oh, this one is you take out Lurrus and you bring in these reptilian reflections, and then you take out, so we gotta remember to take that out. I'm just gonna get rid of the stingers here. Actually, you could probably keep the stingers in, just get rid of another miscellaneous cycler. Maybe we get rid of Zenith Flare. It's a little high on the curve. Keep 3. Just do it like that. Play a little bit more of an interactive game. I don't know, haven't played too much of this deck. Was fooling around with it a bit yesterday. Giving my brain a break from Team Rec. I gave in, started playing Team Rec. I think we keep this hand. The fact we can go cage on 1. This card's just so good in the matchup. We have 2 draws at a land. Menace, that's interesting. So Labyrinth Raptor, whenever a creature you control with Menace becomes blocked, defending player sacks a creature. Is this Rakdos Menace Tribal? Okay. So we have the Zenith Flare. I think we're just going to dig for lands here. And I'm probably going to Clarion. Perfect. So I'm going to make the token on their turn. That's why we held off cycling. Maybe they transform. I want to take them off the Stormfist because it's giving them card advantage. So here I'm going to, because the Labyrinth Raptor makes us sacrifice a creature. You block, you block, you block. And then this will get him to commit more. I'm going to Clarion anyways, so it's fine. I just want to take them off those creatures. Interesting. So, doesn't seem like they want to commit more to the board. Ah, another Stormfist, that's fine. So we're at 4 damage with the Zenith Flare. Reptilian Reflection is a nice card to follow up with. I think this turn we just go Clarion. I want to turn off this card draw engine. So Reptilian Reflection is whenever you cycle a card, you may have it become a 5/4 creature with Trample and Haste. So if we draw another land, I can go Reptilian Reflect. Actually, I need 2 lands, because I need to animate this, and then I can have it fight the Lurrus. Yeah, I go second Oven. This might just be Lurrus. Third Oven. Oh, actually, we shut off Lurrus, so it's fine. Croxa. Let's see what we cycle into here. A land. Think I'm okay just... Oh, they're going to sack just to get more food tokens. I think I'd rather just keep the enablers here. This animates it, becomes a 5/4. And then you attack in. So it's another kind of alternate attack approach. So now they can't kill this on their turn. So they have Serrated Scorpion. So here, I think what we do is... No, actually, this has Trample already. Doesn't even matter. Let's do this so we get some more ping damage in. This lets us animate. And then we're just going to attack in. I'll probably shock for this Valiant Rescuer. Lets us get some more kind of action going there. This pretty much just puts lethal on them next turn. We have 1 cycle, and then I have Zenith Flare for the rest of the damage. They can gain 6 life. And this is why playing Cage on 1, just in case they had any sort of effect. Because here they could have that bring cards back from the graveyard. Okay. It's fine. So with the trigger on the stack, I'm going to kill them. They could gain 6 life. but we have exactly lethal on them, and that's pretty much game over for them. So it took down Rakdos and Gruel. Gonna give Arena a quick reset. Oh, what card we get? Let's see what's in our pack. Oh, actually in the store today, there's a good deal. We spend 1,500 coins for 500 gems. You basically profit. Ooh, do I want the full arts? Kind of just want the Jeskai one and the Teamer one. They're not even that nice. Nope, we'll keep our coins. Give Arena a quick reset, and then we'll fire up for one more match. So give it another, like there's 3 or 4 days left in the season. I'm trying to qualify for top 1,200, so I'll be playing a bit more, probably do a stream with Teamer Rec over the next couple days, and then we'll go back with laddering just to play a bunch of brews and stuff. Traditional play. You know, let me do a demo of the Jeskai version, so that way you can see both. They're very similar in kind of concepts. The main difference is just the ominous seas on the side. Cut this, bring in you. Sorry, gotta tweak this one a bit. Cut one of you, go to sideboard. Then it is Grafdigger and 2 fry. So the C's against like more control decks. We can go the full suite of like Clarions and stuff here. Let's play some Cycle. So this one, you're able to make more of a go wide strategy. You can make tokens, you can make 8/8s. It's kind of like a turbo Ominous Seas deck, which is kind of cool. What it does do is you do take a bit more damage from your lands, so against aggressive decks you're a little weaker. Gonna keep this. We draw a blue source. We're good. So Kahira can be Gruel Fires, can be Jeskai Control, can be Gruel mid-range typically, is where we see her. Kahira, maybe. Gruel. Okay, so against Gruel, I'm going to prioritize the life gain over the damage, especially with our lands being more painful. Would have really liked Alliance coming in there. Let's see if we can hit a land here. Nope. So we'll attack in here. Do I just want to go Stinger? Let's do this. Try it out this way. This could be Bone Crusher. Fire Prophecy. Yeah, it's a fun deck to play. Oi, not drawing our blue sources. So we'll gain some life here. Jeez. Well, the good thing is we gained a lot of life. Yeah, this is the one downside of the Jeskai version. You're playing 16 lands, and how many cards have we drawn thus far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 extra cards. No blocks here, taking a bunch of damage. So I think what we need to do is try to just gain life here. Ominous Seas can also be cycled, which is nice. Probably did this one, just never hit a blue source. Zenith Flare is not terrible. The fact this gives Vigilance as well is pretty rough. They have Red Cavalier. Red Cavalier's game for us. If they just play something like Vivian, we're probably okay. Questing Beast is a very difficult card for this deck to beat. I do like Fire Prophecy actually in this deck. You get these hands that are very awkward, so being able to kind of cycle through. So Ceratops has got Trample. Yeah, we're dead here. This basically just pumps the team. They can do 2 pumps plus a Trample. So Seize is actually very good in this matchup. Dragonfire is probably not that great. We probably need something better for the Gruel matchup. I think we want Lava Coils on this side. Yeah, Zenith Flare just wins games out of nowhere. In this matchup, probably just get rid of... I think we want all the cycle effects. Probably just take down one of the creatures. The life gain one, probably the Pinger one. I could keep 2 cards in, keep 2 pingers, go like that. The enchantments are harder for them to deal with. They're probably going to bring in something like Flame Sweep, which if we can get down, it's still kind of bad against the fairies, but Fire Prophecy, if they're doing it on a token, doesn't feel as bad as if we pay 2 mana for it. My record with Zenith Flare so far is 25. But generally it's around 9 to 12. Sure. So play here is cycle on 1, try to drop Drannith Healer on 2. This version, you can technically cast these like boons as well, but it's pretty unlikely you get the 6 mana. Untap land. Untap land. That's what happens when you play 16 lands. Sometimes you never draw the second. Sometimes you never draw the second. Actually, I probably should have dropped the Valiant Rescuer. If we don't draw a line this turn, I'm just going to... Yeah, let's just... We'll fire up another one. Because at this point, we cycle, we get a land, we play a 1/1, but they're on their fire's turn. Just missed too many go-arounds. I've kept plenty of one-landers, are usually fine to kind of cycle through. If we hit a second land in that turn, we'd get a lot, be in a lot better position. All right, keep. So Fox on 1. We have at least 1 cycler. Opponent does not want to play us. Do they just straight concede? Okay. Opponent's been hurt by too many Zenith Flares. We'll take our free win for the weekly. Imagine getting so tilted from a cycling deck. I did lose to this against Team Arek. I'm like 8-2 with Team Arek, and one of my losses came to this deck. If you don't have Narset, it's a lot harder to deal with. Okay, it's a Lurrus deck. So let's play as though they're on the aggressive one. So this one, shave down one of these. Drannith Stinger could come out. Probably also the Ominous Seas. Probably play an Ominous Seas. Nah, play the Zenith Flare. I don't like these against claim decks, so without us knowing whether or not it's a claim deck. This is the problem playing unranked. Opponents just concede all the time. Okay, so we did board correctly. Let them deal. Oh, this might be... There's a mono black Lurrus deck going around. Okay, priest. It's fine. So I think we just prioritize this turn as killing the priest. Because next turn I can shock in play a Improbable Alliance as well as cycle. So it allows us to get a token right away. So I do need to shock for Alliance here, unfortunately. And we need to do this now. So we get the second draw for the turn. Cage is great. So next turn I can drop a cage. That also shuts off Whisper Squad. We'll take the blocks here. It's actually a great sequence because I can do this, and then play Go for Blood. And then I get 2 tokens. And then that triggers. So this version gets... The Boros is a little bit more all-in aggressive. This one's a little bit more resilient. Okay, so it's black-white. So they'll have Cruel Celebrant in this version. They'll also have the 1/3 that sacks. Okay, so they're just playing out Lurrus. I think we kind of fight Lurrus, probably. Until end of turn, target creature becomes a 4/4. They're going to block with Lurrus and we're going to kill it. Do it. Do it. Block with Lurrus. I never thought I would ever cast this card in anything. Let's just cycle this. Ooh, and we got Zenith Flare. Okay, so I'm going to cycle it on the opponent's turn. So I get another token this way. Let's see if they pay 2 mana for Whisper Squad. Okay, they got the priest. And like at this point, priest isn't doing that much. So let's attack with everything. I just want to get some damage in on them. Makes the Zenith Flare better. So what I'm going to do here is play the Lurrus. Oh, no, wait. Lurrus shuts me off. Oops. So then... you fight you. Gain 3 life. Play out the land. One downside. Lurrus shuts us off. It's doing more for us, but still, just a 3-2 body here is fine. I'm going to Zenith Flare them for 8, and that should be the game. Celebrant can make the math a little difficult. I think we just cycle 1 here. If I could get one more cycler, it's good. Perfect. So they're going to gain 3 from these dying. That puts another cycler with the trigger on the stack. Hit him for 11. Game over. So these decks are sweet. They lose very, very hard to Narset, but they're very interesting to play. It's a kind of unique take on Boros colors as well as Jeskai. But they're definitely something, especially the Boros version. It's very cheap to build. Basically, just need Lurrus for the main board. If you have Sacred Foundries, everything else is uncommon. Sideboard-wise, some cages and some Clarions are really your only inclusion in that case. Jeskai gives you, basically you're paying for the mana base. It's really the only difference between the decks. So I'm going to wrap this one up. I might be back later today. Otherwise, I'm just going to grind some more on Teamer Rec. This is my current list. It's kind of a hybrid. I do have a couple. I like the Frilled Mystic in the main. Gives me kind of more of a counter-based. Been toying around. Might go up another Shark Typhoon in the main. Move the Storm Wrath to the side. But it's pretty much what I've been going with. It's the only deck I've been having success with the last couple days. Fell down to 97%. So going to work at trying to get that back up. Anyways, thanks for stopping by, everyone. Have a great rest of the day, and see you next time.